Hi everybody, how you doing? I want you to imagine a small island out in the middle of the ocean, maybe a larger island, and imagine 1,000,000 people are dumped on the shores of that island, from all sides, you know. 1,000,000 people from around the world, you know, dozens of people from each different culture, indigenous cultures, all the way to, well, at least many of the Western cultures. I mean, talking in the modern day, in today's world, taking a few people from every region and putting them on one island and just saying explore. All of these people would wander through the woods and meet up with one another casually. Maybe at first it would be kind of new and exciting, so there probably wouldn't be a lot of conflict. But let's say that they're left there and no one comes to pick them up. And this is a kind of a, you know, an exercise in comparing to the internet. So just so you follow where I'm going here, this is what's happened with the internet. It's as if 1,000,000 people were put on an island together. And the internet in the early days was like that. It was new and exciting, and people were like, wow, and exploring and finding new places. There were still some dangerous places. And then let's say these 1,000,000 people, over a period of time, some fights might break out, some arguments. So the people might start to congregate within their groups of their cultures, or cultures that they find to be, you know, conducive to their way of life. And then in these little areas, the people will kind of isolate themselves and perhaps build some protection around there. They may make it a little bit safer for themselves. And eventually you end up with several small cities or villages with several different cultures, which find that you have to work together, yet not everyone can work together because principles and values are different. This is exactly what I see has happened on the net. In the early days, in the 90s, it was kind of the Wild West. Late and into the early 2000s, it became a troll fest, a hate fest, where people were arguing. I mean, in the early days on, say, YouTube, I mean, anybody could post anonymously, and there was a lot more hate. And I know it seems like today there's a lot more hate. There's still plenty out there, don't get me wrong. It wasn't just hate, it was that people, for the first time, were exposed to other cultures, other beliefs, and had to reconcile that and understand. And so now we're in the protective phase, where people are isolating themselves in their little villages, which is like, even within platforms like YouTube, there are small communities, YouTube communities. And these communities are not just webs, they are webs that extend into other communities. So for example, some of the people I talk with also watch some of the other channels I watch, or they're into the same things, but others maybe not so much. And also my interests kind of wander to extreme things, like I'm into buses now, you know, conversions, things like that. So I'd be more exploring into the bus community too. And maybe somebody in there is connected to, you know, any number of different interests. I think what it's doing is it's opening up doors for us. It's, as it seems like we're coming to, you know, everyone pictures it, you know, the world we live in differently. And in my view, there is, of course, there's still a lot of hate, a lot of ignorance, and a lot of starvation, pestilence, disease. All of that is always going to exist, but I don't believe in a utopian society where the world's all happy and everyone's dancing and rainbows and unicorns. It just doesn't fly. It's not reality. You know, it's the acceptance of suffering and the celebration of it instead of ignoring it, as well as the celebration of we as individuals, meaning we have to celebrate our egos, but just not our egotistical natures. And what I've found is, if you get too complex, if you get too deep into it and start getting into the verbiage and trying to, you know, get the right words, and people start confusing what you mean. I think we all know in our hearts, I mean, what it means to be a good human and to be a happy human. When we do something wrong, that it doesn't work for us, or we act like a jerk to someone, it may give us a rush, let's say. Like some people who are bullies or trolls, they do it because they get a rush, because that's the only way they know how to get that excitement. Maybe they don't have excitement elsewhere in their lives. I mean, it's obviously, I mean, I guarantee that there probably aren't a lot of, like, well, I won't go into speculation here, but if we fill our lives with more, I don't know, I guess more fulfilling, I don't know, hobbies, interests, and whatnot, we start to meet like-minded people who also have those interests and who care about other people, and philanthropists, and you find out that, wow, I always thought all rich people were greedy jerks, but I guess I was being stereotyping them. Or, yeah, it's easy to think that all the people in the South are just hillbillies, but that's not how it is. Or the people in the mountains are the hicks, and everybody can label a group. It's just like, someone from down south thinking of the people in the city as just a bunch of, urban, snooty people. I wouldn't blame people for stereotyping and generalizing each other. But here's the thing, this is where the internet has changed this. Those stereotypes, even though they're ever more prevalent than they've ever been, they're starting to fall away slowly, at least in my view. I think people are starting to realize that many of their preconceived notions and ill-held beliefs about how different races, deserve to be slaves, or how different races, don't deserve the same treatment, or even different sexes. This is something that we haven't overcome yet. Of course not. Sexism is still prevalent, but now it's taken a turn, a 180, where now the women have been fighting back and making men afraid to be men, and it's turned into this big war of words and gender identity, and it's nonsense. A lot of it out there right now, we're super sensitive, and it's because, and I believe we need to thicken up our skin and stop being wusses about it, on one hand, to put it mildly. But on the other hand, I think that people have a right to finally speak up. It's as if you've been suppressed your whole life and you feel like you need to speak out. It's just that people are frustrated and they're taking it out on each other. And that's where a lot of this angst comes from, and a lot of the hatred and the bullying, and why I don't even delve into certain topics, or I don't watch the news, I don't have cable, I don't watch commercials, I'm not interested in knowing what's really going on. I'll look at some headlines on AP maybe once a day, just to see if I missed any major nukes or something. But generally it's not worth it. I ask myself, what have I ever gained from, thinking of the world as a scary place, or worrying about all the problems in it. I can only influence my little world and my little reality, and sometimes I can't even do that very well, because I'm just a human, I sit here behind the camera and I talk to you all, but, and it's a little bit for myself, a little bit for getting out my feelings and ideas, so, yeah, because I learn a little bit from it, and also from the reciprocation of you, the subscribers, who continue to benefit from some of the videos. And I know that, for 7 years I've been making these videos, and I'm still doing it for free, and I will probably always do it for free, because I'm not interested in the marketing aspect. I'm so opposed to business. It's so hard for me to even run my business, because I do everything I can for my customers, and bust my ass to the last minute of shipping, and make sure that I get everybody's stuff out quickly. And sometimes I oh God, if I don't get something done, I just I'll worry about it. But at the same time, I realize that I don't know where. I kind of lost track on that one. I don't remember the point. I don't do that very often, but sometimes I kind of lose my point. I go too far ahead. But the point I guess I was going to get at with that is being a people pleaser and always doing the most you can for other people is important. And if you run a business, then you feel like you're obligated all the time to do that. And so I think the reason why I kind of separate myself from having a whole lot of friends or being a major social person is because, I like to reserve my energy and love for those in my close family. But then I do get a lot of questions from people, I mean, a ton of emails and messages that are personal that if I don't respond, I feel bad. So if any of you have ever sent me a personal email that I didn't respond to or missed, or said I was going to write back, you can always email me back, but I really try. It's just like it's so much energy, and I feel bad for people who are like maybe therapists online who have a channel where they, and everybody starts asking them questions. What do I do about this and this and this? And, it's even harder for me as an herbalist. People ask me, what herbs should I take? I'm like, I don't know you or your body or any of your problems or reasons why you want to take these. And it's funny because I'll actually compromise my own, my own business by saying, oh, well, you probably don't need this, or maybe you should try this herb, and I don't sell it, somebody else does, But working for yourself, doing anything. Before that I was a carpenter for, years, and I worked for other people, and then I got my own business, and then I specialized in just finished carpentry. I love doing trim work and, fine detail woodwork and whatnot. And I did that for a while, but I found myself like, I'm not good with clients. I'm good with talking with people. I'm just not good with pricing myself accordingly. And, whatever. Those are just the lessons we learn, but that's not what's important to me. I have a deep care and empathy for people that sometimes is so deep that I have to put it aside. That I have to be rough, and I have to just say no. I have to do this for myself, or I can't use all my energy worrying about all the problems in the world. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about worrying about the bad news and all the bad problems. We're exposed to enough, and we can help those around us, and we can try to help each other, because there are times when we're in different phases. I'll be into, like I was saying earlier about the groups, I'll be into one group, and then all of a sudden I'll shift to another and another, and I think we do that with our friends. I mean, everybody knows that they'll have a YouTuber they really like, and then maybe not watch for a while, and it's not anything personal. It's just, I'm interested in different things, and I think that tells us a lot about who we are as people. That we're always shifting, we're always looking for novelty. At least a lot of us are. And that can get into the right-left brain kind of thing with the conservative liberal mindset, how there are actually brain differences in the way that we process, that some people are more open to change and new experiences while others aren't. And I think it's a beautiful mesh of the two that allows us to survive as a species. And as much chaos and confusion as there is out there, if you really look at the good, if you really look at how amazing it is that this many people can live relatively peacefully, and we're always going to hear about the negative stories, but you don't hear about the billions of people who live a normal day. We're doing okay. Hopefully we can get our shit together. I just think it's amazing we can exist at all with some of the, the way that the world appears to us through the media. That's why I would urge people to abandon media. As much as possible, anyway. I figure if the story's big enough, you'll hear about it. So, with social media, we kind of are the media now. But I'll talk to you all later, and hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, whatever you're doing, wherever you're at, and peace.